Thank you all for tuning in to another show of Sweet Life Sports with Aubrey Greer. I have the one and only Jasmine Williams, LSU graduate, former track star, um, football, HBCU royalty, if you will. For those that don't know, Jasmine is the daughter of the great Doug Williams, first Black quarterback to win a Super Bowl, also Super Bowl MVP, and an HBCU graduate. So, Jasmine, it's an honor to have you on the show. Give us a little background about what you're currently doing and what was it like growing up being Doug Williams' daughter?
Yes, first of all, thank you so much for having me on. I'm super excited to have this conversation today. So currently, right now, I'm actually working with the Dallas Cowboys. I am
Oh.
there. I know. I'm like, no, just kidding. This is against work policy. No, but currently working with the Dallas Cowboys. I am their health and wellness program manager. So working within the community relations department there, absolutely love my job. What I get to do. I'm specifically working with the youth in the Dallas market and, the schools, going out to schools, making sure that we're, focusing on their physical health, but also their mental health as well. So it's a really unique space and something that I absolutely love to do. As far as growing up as Doug Williams' daughter, I always tell people, I mean, and I'm sure this is the case for a lot of people who grew up with a parent, a notable parent, you have
Yeah.
absolutely no idea. Like you're like, this is just my dad, and this is
Yep.
a coach. Like that's all I knew was that he coached football and that he was my dad. But I think it wasn't until like other people are bringing you like, oh my gosh, look at your dad, or oh my gosh, and you're like, what is it like? What is going on? And then I just remember I would like ask my dad questions, and he would just kind of chuckle because he realized that I was kind of getting it. So it took me a while to realize kind of what he meant to the Black community, the football community, and just people everywhere. But once I realized it blew my mind, and I honestly have just kind of studied him. I've asked him questions, just obviously because I have that access to him, and I'm just like he is just the same way people look at him is the same way I look at him now. Just like you're my dad, but you're also so amazing and such a hero. So I think it's pretty cool, and it did take me a while, but I get it now.
Yeah, like he is a living legend, and it's crazy because I've been in the space now for 12 years, and because he has the HBCU ties, like I was like, oh man, I kind of got starstruck when I first met him. And it's weird how we both met working in Tampa. He played there, and now I'm in Washington, and
I
he's
know.
currently like the face there. So it's funny how we cross paths in that regard, and it's amazing. And again, like you said, like yes, he is amazing. He is just a phenomenal representation of what is possible for a lot of athletes who go to HBCUs and also being successful in the NFL. Like it's not easy to win a Super Bowl, and he did it in DC, and that's just incredible. So you're currently with the Dallas Cowboys. Like, talk to us about like why was sports like your career path, and how did that come about?
Gosh, so I'm actually doing a panel on sometime next week, and I looked at their questions, and it made me think about this exact question and just how I've gotten into this. But so obviously grew up in a locker room. Like I always tell people, I feel like I was Hayden Panettiere's character in Remember the Titans because I
Mhm.
just felt like I was a part of the team. Like I just was
Yep.
supposed to be there. So football is literally like a football field feels like home to me. Like I just when I look at a field, when I like see everything that comes with football, I'm like, okay, I'm home.
Yeah.
So I knew that I had to be around football. Like it was just like natural to me. But then also my mom played a huge role in my life, and she has been in marketing for 2.5 decades, I believe.
Oh wow.
So I saw that, and I'm like, okay, I know I don't want to say I can't be a coach because now we have representation of that. But when I was a kid, we didn't have that. So I didn't think I could be a football coach. And so I'm like, okay, how do I combine football, but also, I have this representation of my mom and she does marketing. Is there a way that I can do both of these? So initially I wanted to I wanted to be on camera. I thought I was going to be Pam Oliver. But then kind of went the other route and said I want to be, behind the scenes and want to do what my mom does, but also bring in what my dad does as well. So both of them completely inspired my path. And so that's what brought me to sports marketing. I got out of sports for a couple years after you and I met in Tampa.
Yeah.
I went into healthcare. I went into hospitality just to figure out, where exactly I wanted to be. And, that's when I realized like I can't be anywhere other than sports. Like nothing feels like a right fit. So yeah, I'm exactly where I want to be.
That's dope. And like obviously you had, a very early start to the industry, but people don't realize that it's not a job, it's not a career, it's a lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
And you stepped out to see hospitality, healthcare, but you realize that's not who you are to your core. Talk to people who don't quite understand, like you're never off, like you're always in season, there's tight schedules, there's deadlines. Like talk to us about how you manage it all together.
Oh man. So yeah, that is something that's funny that you say that because obviously the Cowboys season just ended last week.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't hear that. Really? What happened?
Oh my gosh. You were watching it, right? But no, yeah. So our season ended last week. So it's just so funny just hearing people say, oh, well, so now everything's slow, or now you get to slow down. And I'm like, no.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's not how it works. And to be honest with you, like I love the season. But one thing about being in season is like you know exactly what you're doing every day throughout the week because we're on football schedule. So what they do Monday through Sunday, that's what we're planning around. So the off season I absolutely love as well because it's unpredictable and you get to plan different things. You get to think outside of the box. And that's where the magic really starts. And you get to plan for the season, for the next season. And so this week has been, obviously it's been really sad in the office because of changes that we've been making and the fact that we didn't make the playoffs, but also it's been exciting. And I've been there, till 5 every day. Even though people are leaving early just because it's like one of those weeks.
Yep.
But to me, it's like, okay, this is where the magic is happening. And this is, we're just getting started. And in my role specifically, I want to keep the momentum going in the community and make sure that we are still showing that we care about the community, even though football is over. So yes, it is very much a lifestyle. It is not, August or September through December, January, February,
Yep.
whatever your season ends. It absolutely is full, all year. And it's as much as you want to give to it. That's why I love football. You can
Yeah.
go around the clock if you want to, but yeah, it's a good place to be.
Exactly. Like I said, I've been doing this for a while, and my family's like, "Well, now that the season is over, like, how do you make money?" I'm like, "What do you mean? How do I make? I'm busier when the season is done when it is in
Yes,
season."
exactly. I'm like, we are just getting started.
Yep. So that's dope. And I know that you're working in health and wellness. Like, what type of initiatives do you implement, or do you guys have like a structured, like this is what we do in May, this is what we do for back to school? Like, is there room to add new ideas, or like how do you even research ideas to do in the community?
Yes, so both of those things. So right now we're planning, and the panel I was talking about for next week is a Black History Month panel. Super
Nice.
excited about it. So this is our second year doing this panel. And where my role specifically lies, like I mentioned before, is with the youth. And so these panels are geared towards middle school age kids. And so we know that age is, very impressionable. It's that time where you are going through puberty and potential bullying happening and, a lot of different things going on. We all remember that time. And so these panels are specifically for that age group so that they can see what's possible, so that they can, focus on their character development, their mental health. It's just really focused on that. So that's one example. We celebrate Hispanic Heritage Month, Women's History Month, which is in March. We celebrate, salute to service. So obviously our veterans. So a lot of different initiatives, pretty much every initiative that we have in community relations as a whole, I try to figure out how we can get youth involved and how we can show that this is something that's important while they're still kids. And also obviously their physical health. So we're doing mini camps at middle schools and bringing them out to the Star and showing them around, showing them how awesome the Star is and, you know, what they could be one day. But just little stuff like that, but absolutely room for, you know, always room for new events. And how I kind of, the inspiration that I grab is honestly from other teams. Like that's where I go first. I always research, you know, what other teams are doing, because obviously, you know, we're different clubs, we're competing against each other, but we are one family. And so it's the collaboration that happens within the NFL is really, really awesome. You know, the community relations meetings are coming up here in March. And so we get to all come together and collaborate together, talk about what we've done this past year, what we can do in the future. So it really is, you know, while we want to do different things, we know, you know, if somebody did something really successful here, why not try to do that here in Dallas? And so, you know, just a few examples, like the Panthers have an awesome youth outreach program. Obviously, the Buccaneers do an amazing job. So I always look at them as well. But there's so many different clubs to look to just for inspiration, and just also people that you know in the community. Like that's why I absolutely love my job, is because I can connect it to what I'm doing outside of work. You know, I meet so many people that are like, oh, hey, I work for a school, or I work for this nonprofit that does this. And I'm like, oh my gosh, we could probably utilize that, and we could, you know, amplify what you're doing and use the Star to do that. So that's just like some of the ways that I'm able to, you know, keep things fresh and come up with new ideas for my role.
That's dope. That's dope. And I want to take it back to your college days. I know you went to LSU. How did that come about, and why not Grambling?
Oh gosh, such a sensitive question there. That's so funny. So how it happened. So both my mom and my dad are HBCU grads. So my mom went to Hampton.
Oh, wow, I'm from Virginia. That's what's
up. Exactly. So my mom, she was born in Tampa, but raised in DC. And so she was in that area and decided to go to Hampton. Obviously, dad went to Grambling. And so both were definitely pushing me to go to either or. And I'm definitely that girl that's like, okay, what can I do differently? How can I blaze my own path? So that was kind of in the back of my mind. But then I also knew that I wanted to go to a football school just because I knew I wanted to work in football. And so because I was leaning towards journalism, my two options were Mizzou and then also LSU, because I just, obviously from Baton Rouge, like knew LSU my whole life. And that was just like, has always been in the back of my head. And so ended up choosing LSU mainly because my family was down there. And so I just wanted to have some place, you know, a place to call home while I was away from home. My dad was absolutely not happy about that decision. He definitely wanted me to go to Grambling. So it took him a while to get over that. Probably when I graduated is when he got over that. Nice. But no, that was kind of why I decided to go to it. But I always tell people, I'm like, I feel like I already went to Grambling. Like, I feel like I graduated from Grambling when I was like 12.
100%.
So it was like, I absolutely love Grambling. I bleed black and gold. Like when I start paying a school, like my money will not go to LSU. It will go to Grambling. So that's just what it is. So yeah, that was the thought process.
Okay, that's dope. That's dope. And you ran track while you were there, right?
No, not in college. So I did softball and track in high school. And then I knew, so it's funny you asked that. My thinking behind that, I really wanted to run track in college, but I knew that I would not make money after college. That was my whole thinking. So I'm like, if I spend this much time at track practice and running meets, it's going to change my entire experience at college. And my focus will not be on school. And so what am I going to be doing after college? I'm going to have to start all the way over. And so I just decided that I was going to go the complete opposite way. But now I'm looking at NIL now and I'm like, man.
Tell me about it. Oh my goodness. To be 17 and have like millions of dollars.
Millions. What?
Like,
I would be a school. two-sport athlete.
This is when you're walking into college. This isn't like you actually did a game or you
And guess
qualified.
what?
This is just, I come
If
to your school and I get paid.
Right. And if you're living in California, you can get paid as a high school. Like I'm still living at my parents' house. I'm paying their bills because I'm a millionaire.
Oh my gosh. That's
Crazy. I'm like, oh my gosh. So yes, if NIL was a thing, absolutely would have done sports in college. But I knew it was gonna be tough for me to make money after college. So that was why I decided not to.
nice, nice. And you mentioned like how you guys collaborate with other leagues and we in the league, unfortunately, we look at you all as like this is the goal. Like Dallas Cowboys set the standards of like what was successful, what works. So like, how does it feel to like walk around like with your gear on in the city, or even when you go back home to Louisiana? Like, how does it feel when people stop you like, oh my God, you work for the Cowboys? Like, are you still like excited? Because you've been around it your whole life. So is it still fun for you, or is it just another day as usual?
I mean, gosh, it's a mix of both. I have days where I'm like, oh my gosh, like I can't believe I work for this organization. And then I have days where I'm like, it's another organization. Like, but more so days that I'm just like, it's blowing my mind. But when you're working in it, you lose track, you lose sight of how big it really is.
Yes.
But it is in those moments where you're outside of it. And people are coming up to you or asking you questions or whatever. It's funny you mentioned the pivot, because that's what I was doing. I was literally watching old episodes, and I was watching the one with Michael Irving and Michael Parsons and Charles Haley. And I'm like, oh my, like I see Charles every day in the, like I literally eat with him all the time at lunch. So I'm like, this is insane. It literally just happened to me like 5 minutes ago. So I'm like, wow, this is huge. Like, this is really, really big. So it does happen. Moments like that do happen to me where I'm like, okay, girl, like you have to ground yourself and be in this moment, because I'm such a head thinker. So I just have to remind myself that to be here and like appreciate how big this really is, because it is.
And like, for example, like my family, they think I'm on the same level as like a Jason Wright. Like they think I can make decisions.
I love
like,
that.
It doesn't work like that. Like
they're manifesting.
You should be able to do this, and you should be. I'm like, nah. It don't work like that.
That's awesome.
And like the thing that spoiled me is that I worked first for the Atlanta Hawks, and then I got on with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And Tampa, they like make it a whole family atmosphere. Like the access to the players, the eating of the lunch, watching the practices, like it legit spoils you in a way, because you think this is regular life. Like I can go give that to Mike Evans and be like, oh, what up, Mike? Like it's crazy how, like you said, it's definitely time to be where your feet are and appreciate the journey, because not everyone gets to experience these billion-dollar industries, the behind the scenes experiences that we get to share and enjoy. So I'm definitely extremely proud of you in that regard. We just turned a calendar year and you still have a bright future ahead of you. Like, how do you plan and set goals for yourself to keep chasing the dream and keep like believing that you're building towards the next big thing?
Yeah, that's a good question. I actually just finished grad school in December.
Congrats.
And so I'm kind of in that reset mode, because it just blows my mind how much free time I have now. And so I'm in that reset mode right now, where I'm trying to set my calendar and get in a routine and, figure out what's next. But what you just said is exactly where my head is right now. It's just being where my feet are, because I am so used to just planning ahead and tackling the next thing and what can I accomplish next. But I'm just trying to remind myself that there's so much to accomplish here. I want to just, my goal right now is just to spark up my resume and to wherever I go next, to have so many things that I built, that I, came up with, new ideas, all this stuff, and be able to bring that to the next thing. And so I know in order to do that, I still have some work to do here. And so that's just where my head is. It's just kind of digging in. Now that I'm not in school, I can give, my job 100% of myself and my brain. And so I'm really focused on that, and really focused on making some positive changes. Not that anything is negative at all, but obviously want to do things, new things every year. And so that's just what I'm focused on right now, is just bringing in new, fresh ideas, and just really establishing myself.
Nice. And obviously, I know that you are accustomed to this lifestyle and you were kind of given a firsthand view of what it's like, but it's still rare to see a Black woman on the business side of sports. Talk to us about how you are an ambassador for other women of color to walk around either the Dallas area, Louisiana, or everywhere you go. Like I saw you last year at the networking event that ESPN did in Atlanta. Like, talk to us about how important it is to be seen in places like that and to be the woman you are.
Oh man, it's so, so important to me. It's really hard for me to say no when people ask me for stuff because that's the first thing that I think about. I'm like,
Mhm.
what other Black woman are they asking? Like, that's what I think. And I'm like, I don't need to know the answer to that. I just have to assume that I'm the only one. And if
Mhm.
that's the case, then I have to do it because I
Yep.
have to show the person behind me that this is possible. You know, even at SMU, I mean, there wasn't a lot of me's walking around getting their MBA. And so
Yep.
I became an ambassador. So I'm at the events that they're recruiting students for because I just want, you know, if there's another Black woman in that room trying to figure out if SMU is the spot for her, I want her to see that another Black woman did it.
Mhm.
So that's just where what my mindset, you know, what I tell myself is just assume you're the only one that they asked and
Yep.
you're the only one that someone is able to see. And so that's really top of mind. You know, I'm Black before I'm anything else. And then I'm a woman. And so that's just how I approach everything. And it does not, you know, I'm not blinded by it at all. It's something that I'm reminded of every single day and something I take pride in, and something that I, you know, am I'm honored to be. And I know that there, you know, the further you go, the fewer there are. And I want to change that. Like, I just don't think that's right. And I don't want to be the only one. And so I'm open to pulling anybody with me. Like that's the goal.
I love that. I use a quote that I love using the most is just because it hasn't happened yet doesn't mean you can be the first one to do it.
Mm.
So like I appreciate you being that beacon of light, that ambassador and having that badge of honor and doing it with pride. And how do you maintain goals for yourself? Like what's next for Jasmine Williams?
Ooh wee.
Got the NBA, you're in the NFL.
Oh gosh, I know. There's so many I have so many like ideas. You know, I have a long-term goal, but have thought about steps that would take to get there. Obviously, like we talked about, worked with Tampa, worked with Washington, at Dallas now. So I do feel like you know, Dallas is probably my last team,
Mhm.
just because I've gotten that team experience and I know that side well. I would love to work at the league office, whether in LA or New York. So I've been thinking about that. But then also want to see what the agency side is like. That's really my long-term goal is to have my own boutique agency with my mom. That is our goal.
Nice.
Yes. And so I do need that experience before I ever get there. And so, you know, I might absolutely hate it and decide that that's not something that I want to do. So I do believe that that's something that's where I got to go in order to figure that out. And so I don't know if that's next or, you know, a league office is next. I have no idea, but those are the two things that I'm kind of rambling with right now.
Nice, nice. I want to pivot a little bit and talk a little bit about your personal life. A tipsy bite. Talk to us about how did that come about, and you know what's the future of that.
Oh my gosh, yes, a tipsy bite. That's my little passion project. It's something that my best friend and I started right before we graduated college. We were living together and still best friends to this day. But we were literally like senioritis was kicking in. Obviously, this is an undergrad. And we just were like, would get home from class. We were both servers at the time. So whenever we were both off, we'd be like, let's go eat. Let's find a new restaurant. Let's try something new. Let's go get some oysters. Let's do this, whatever. And so we're literally having oysters and like rosé or something. And we're like, we need to document this. Like we do this every single week, twice a week. Like we have to document this. So we just randomly started a page, like thought about the name. Probably took like 30 minutes to come up with a name. and started it in 2016, I believe. So it's been a while now, and we've tried to grow it. When she moved to Dallas right after college. Then I came to Dallas, and so we were able to like put on a Thanksgiving event that was super intimate with our close friends. We've got some branding down, and we are trying new places. She's in law school now at Southern. And so she does not have a lot of time, which I totally understand because I also did not have a lot of time. And so we're now at that place where we're trying to like get back into it now that I'm out of school and can dedicate some more time. But we have thought about so many amazing ideas. We both have a heart of giving. She is the most selfless person that I know. And so we both want to create a foundation for it. That's really our long-term goal. Like all of this food stuff is fun, but we're like, okay, there's a lot of starving people out there. And so how can we turn this into something that we're actually giving back to other people? So that's our long-term goal with that. But we're getting back into it and gonna obviously put more time into it. But yeah, it's a fun little project.
That's dope. That's dope. I wish you all the best, and I'm definitely here to support however I can. And you got the NBA, you've worked for a few teams now. Like, how do you stay hungry for more? Like, what books do you read? Like, who are some of your mentors, whether it's personal family members or like outside of your family?
Yes, no, I'm glad you asked that. The biggest thing for me for staying hungry is staying inspired. Like I think when you are not inspired, it's just like, okay, what am I doing this for? Who am I doing this for? My dog is going crazy right now. Of course. But the way that I stay inspired is by reading. I always am reading a book, whether it's a self-help book, a psychology book, philosophy book, or just a, memoir. I'm really into memoirs right now. So Shoe Dog, Uphill, any book that is about anybody's life story inspired me. And so I think reading is a really amazing source of inspiration. And then also as far as mentors, I made it a point last year to ask someone to be my mentor. That is the most awkward thing to me, but it's something that I had never done. And I was really focused on doing that. And so I now have a mentor that, is not too much older than me. So she, can relate to the things that I'm going through. She looks like me, so she's a Black woman. So that was really important to me and really has changed the trajectory of, my life. She encourages me. We set a word of the year and that I literally think about it every single week. So just a mentor is life-changing when it fits. So, anybody that watches this, that's really some advice that I would give is to find a mentor and don't just, ask anybody. Like think about how this fits into my life and how this person mimics, the path that I want to go down. And then just kind of, ask them and let them know why. And because it really will influence a lot of the decisions that you make going forward.
I love that. I love that. And lastly, for people that are trying to get their foot in the door or get into pro sports, what advice would you give a graduating senior or even someone in high school?
Okay. This is the biggest thing that I want to say because I feel like I've seen it a lot lately, but I think that a lot of people are looking for a microwave success. A lot of people are just like, they're seeing, these people on Instagram and at games and they're working the games and they're working these cool events and all of they're seeing it on Instagram or on social media or whatever it is and thinking, okay, I want to work in sports in order to be able to do that. Wipe that out because the people that are posting this or that you are seeing, like you have no idea the journey that they took to get to where they are. So wipe that out. Nothing comes immediately. You're going to have to take, you might be in a role that you don't like. Hopefully you're not, but that might happen. And the purpose of an internship is to see what you really want to do. And so, taking an internship that you are interested in, but you don't know if that's, exactly what you want to do. So whether it's, PR or, photography or whatever it is, just take it, like just do it. If you have an opportunity to get your foot in the door, like you just said, just do it. If it sparks anything in you, do it. You have no idea who you're going to meet. Like literally today is an example. We met in
Yeah.
Tampa.
Yeah.
I got out of sports for a couple years, came
Yeah.
back into sports, and then now he's working at the same place that my dad works at. Like it's crazy.
Yeah.
So
It's
you just have,
crazy.
yeah, you literally have no idea who you're gonna meet. But just be prepared to work. Like put the work in. It's not gonna be easy. It's not all glitz and glamour at all.
And it's not 9 to 5.
It's
Like
long hours.
it's
It's not 9 to 5. And if you're working in season, you're gonna be working on Thanksgiving and Christmas.
exactly. Holidays, nights, weekends.
Yes,
You got to
yes, but
collaborate with different departments and you got to be in meetings with people you never
yep,
see. You got to
yep.
answer questions. Like you can't just be just a fly on the wall, just I'm
Nope.
happy to be here. You got to contribute.
Yes.
What have you done for me lately?
What have you done for me lately? But just have that mindset of like, I gotta work every single day. Like I really gotta put the work in
Yep.
to get where I'm going, but also have a long-term goal in mind because that always helps too. Helps you navigate and also, just stay focused in your plan. But yes, that's just don't wipe the Instagram and sideline footage out.
Yes.
That's gonna be you
Begin.
one day. Just might
Yes.
not be tomorrow.
Not today. Yeah. Begin with the end in mind. I love that. I love that.
Yes, exactly.
Jasmine, this has been a lot of fun. I really appreciate you taking the time. It means a lot to me. In terms of your current role and things that you're working on, like what's like the next short-term goal you're excited about?
Oh gosh, we are kind of rebuilding our youth outreach program. And so I'm very, very excited about that. Like we spoke about earlier, I sit within the health and wellness, but we
Mhm.
are, as all teams are, kind of explaining their flag program and youth football program and also girls flag program. And
Nice.
so we're going to be integrating health and wellness into all of those spaces. And so I'm so excited about that. Previously, I wasn't very involved on the football, like youth football side. I was more,
Mhm.
in schools and mini camps and things like that. And so I'm very excited to be more on the, play 60 and flag football and all that good stuff. So integrating those two is kind of our next big thing. So
That's
excited for
dope. That's dope.
it. Yes.
Again, it was a pleasure having you on the show. I really appreciate it and hope you have a great rest of your night.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. It was an awesome conversation.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
Awesome. Have a good one.
You too.